I do now want to introduce the president of Revere America, Marianne Zook.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Auto Museum. Thank you all for coming this evening. We're so glad to have you all here, and it's a really exciting evening. I want to say a special thank you to all of the sponsors who are here and who have given these students the opportunity for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And I would like to say an extra special thank you to our celebrity legend chess champion, Garry Kasparov. Thank you again very much for coming. We hope everybody has a terrific time and has a lot of fun. And at this point, I would like to turn the program over to Nig, who is going to oversee all of the chess playing. Thanks very much. Enjoy the night.
If you can hear me without it, but everyone, welcome. My name is Mick Gringard. I work with Garry, and I'm here to make sure he follows all the rules. You know, no punching below the belts, no dirty tricks here on the chessboard. I'll invite the simul players to come up and kind of find their places. Meanwhile, everybody has their names here. You can fill in your score sheets as well. And meanwhile, I'll explain to everybody what they're going to see here, which I'm hoping won't be quite as boring as you thought it might be when you came. It's going to be. Some people think playing chess might be boring, but watching chess, woo! But we're going to change your minds here. We're going to see the greatest player in the history of the game, and I'm not just saying that because he's my boss, in action here. Garry Kasparov, you may know a little bit about him from Wikipedia. Some of the stuff there is even accurate. Originally born in Baku, Azerbaijan, back in 1963 when it was still part of the USSR, became the world's youngest world chess champion in history at the age of 22 in 1985, and has been the #1 rated player in the world for 20 years. And to put that in a little bit of perspective, it's kind of about the same, considering the professional lifespans of chess players, very similar to the professional lifespans of, say, tennis players. And, you know, 6 or 7 years is considered pretty darn good. So 20, yeah, well, it's a lot. And when he retired in 2005 from professional chess, was still the #1 rated player in the world. And actually, if he came out of retirement today, don't want to give him any ideas, actually. He's doing okay. But what he's going to do, he's going to step into the ring here. Makes it more dramatic. He's going to come in and step around. And each time he gets to the board, he's going to make a move. And then he's going to go to the next board. And when he comes around each time, when he arrives at the board of each player, they will make their move while he's standing there in front of them. He will respond pretty much instantly and then go to the next board. And it continues until pretty much he's done to them what the Obama healthcare plan is going to do to the economy. Sorry, pandering to the hosts a little bit then. But yeah, it's, let's root for the underdogs, I think, but I don't think it's going to help them. But I'll provide them a little, come on, we'll try to think positive. Because it's such a small group and he's going to be moving quite quickly, especially at the beginning, if you need a second, if you're not ready to make your move, you can kind of do a pass. It's okay. We're going to let that slide this time around. We're all friends here. So we're going to let you go ahead and think. But 2 or 3 times around, okay, let's basically make your move when he shows up. And then you can write down your move and notation. If you need some help with that, let me know. And basically, when you're ready to go, you can just extend your hand. But play to mate. I always recommend in these situations, play to mate. But please, that's the one thing of wait till he's at your board. You may have noticed that Garry has white in all the games because he's getting old. He needs a little help. You know, he needs to have the white piece. That is an advantage. It's kind of like having a serve in tennis. You get the white moves first. And that gives you the chance to kind of control the contours of the game, the development of the game.
I mean, percentage-wise, it's not the same as in tennis.
Not quite as high. I think in this situation it's going to be pretty high. He's going to hold serve pretty well here, I think. But on the professional level, white wins about twice as often as black. And of course, about half the games overall are actually drawn at the top level. It's just kind of like in soccer, you can have ties and everybody goes home with a half a point. But in the decisive game, white wins far more often, so it is an advantage. with white, but typically it's just kind of standard practice in this sort of what we call a simultaneous exhibition, that the simul giver, the master, has white in all games. Okay, so this is the best position you're probably going to have all evening. So savor this, guys. Okay. My favorite simul story was an outdoor simul, which are rare for good reason. And he was playing against a group of the top kids and junior players in Buenos Aires, Argentina, outside in a country club. They decided it was such a beautiful day, they were going to play outside. And that worked great until there was a lot of wind, and they were playing on paper boards. And the wind comes along and curls up the edges of the boards that the kids were all playing on and scatter the pieces on about half of the boards. He was playing 24 boards at the time, and scatters the boards. And the parents are just traumatized, and the kids are crying, and it's just they're going to lose a big chance to play against Kasparov. And he just continues around, and as he gets to each board, he puts the board back in their place, puts all the pieces back where they were, and makes his move, goes to the next one, puts all the pieces back in place, goes to the next one. That was, I think, more impressive to a lot of the people watching than the actual games. But no win here. With a mix of E4 and D4, a little bit of each. I don't see any C4s. We use a system we call algebraic notation to write down the moves and to describe the moves of a chess game. That's the kind of the hieroglyphics you see in that little chess section of your newspaper that you skip by en route to the crossword puzzle. But we have a full system for jotting down all the moves. And we have games going back to the 15th century intact. The same rules and same system of notation. You can go back and look those up. That helps us just talk in code. We used to get correspondence chess players in trouble actually during wartime. They were sending their moves back and forth in postcards, getting arrested for being spies. They were sending code. One of the simul winners maybe, but one of the simul players will be a drawing, and that one lucky winner will play Gary head-to-head in a blitz game. And blitz is speed chess, face-to-face, across the table with the clock. And I'll show you in a little bit here what a chess clock looks like. You may be familiar with it. They use it in other games as well. It's a game timer. You have two clock faces, and you make your moves and hit your clock, and it gets very, very fast. And anybody who thinks chess is boring has never watched live blitz chess before. It's an extremely high-speed action sport. I'm going to do some minutes. When he was playing professionally, it wasn't that nice. There were no take-backs against Karpov. That's actually one of the rules. People wonder why we even barely need a rule book other than explaining the moves. But in professional chess, you actually have a lot of little detailed rules about what we call the touch move rule, for example. You get very persnickety about it. If you touch a move, you're not allowed. If you touch a piece, that is the piece you have to move, for example. You're not allowed to just kind of grope the pieces a little bit, or put the move, make the move and look at it for a minute, and then take it back. You're committed. And the pace is we're at a pretty good pace here. Again, sometimes in a much larger sum, you can have 20 boards, 20, even 30 players. And the simul giver will actually walk about 10 miles during the course of it. So in physical endurance, actually, not really something we think of in chess as being important, but certainly an exhibition it is. And even in professional chess, when you're sitting at the board like this for 7 hours, sometimes, day after day, physical conditioning is actually very important. We think of the chess players being some sort of old stereotypes about chain smokers and vodka drinkers, but it hasn't been true for a long time. The sport become very, very rigorous, and the training and physical conditioning become very important. Especially, they used to have adjournments, actually. At a certain point, the players would just get up and continue the next day. Now it's a very luxurious scenario that's no longer true. You have to finish it at the board the same day these days. During the course of a tournament, it would be usually anywhere from 9 days to 2 weeks, and it's a lot of exertion. You burn a lot of calories, believe it or not. I'm not suggesting it's going to replace anybody's aerobics class, but players will lose sometimes 10 to 15 pounds over the course of a long event because of the amount of exertion they're putting out at the board. A lot of stress. Notice some of the name cards have ratings on them over here. So here at our, what we normally call our top board, where our strongest contenders are over here. And of course we have a rating system in chess, just like they do in tennis, a point system there. He's developed by a Hungarian-American mathematician, actually named Arpad Alo, and came up with a system to rate every game. So if you have X rating, you play somebody who has the same rating, you beat him, you get so many points, and add it up there. And basically, you try to get your rating as high as you can. It shows how good you are. And on an amateur level, a player who plays regularly but not, say, doesn't train with a coach or play seriously, might be around a 1200 level, and that, or maybe 1600 as a club player, solid club player, something like that. And you start getting to what we call an expert, up around 2000 rating points. And that's somebody who's taken the game pretty seriously, trained regularly, plays with the computer, maybe reads some books and magazines. 2200 is a master, and then when you get to 2300 and 2400, you start getting into international master level, and then you're basically kind of going pro at that point. If you're going to continue to get any better, you're having to give up a lot of time to study and work at that point. And then 2500 is usually around a level we call a grand master, which is a phrase you probably heard before referring to other things, but it has a very technical meaning in chess for a certain level of achievement. And it's a title that goes back quite a ways in chess. And there used to be a very small elite group, but it has kind of inflated quite a bit over the years. Your grandmaster level, so it's kind of come up with the unofficial title super grandmaster for 2600, which makes you think they should be wearing a cape or something. But basically, it's just to distinguish those who are in the top 100 in the world. And even among those, we have an elite as well. Once you start getting up to the 2700 level, when you only have maybe 20 or 30 players in the world, and then you have, for example, him, who was the first person to break Bobby Fischer's record, which was 2785. Of course, that was set many years ago, 1971. And Gary broke Fischer's record and then pushed it beyond 2800 for the first time. And only very recently did a few other players catch up to that and break 2800. And they still, I don't think anyone's come within 30 points of Gary's all-time record, which was 2851, which is kind of our, 2800 was the 4-minute mile, so I think maybe we got to go Bob Beeman, or I'm not sure what athletes we need to compare to 2851, but I think it's safe to say it's going to be a while before anybody hits that. That's kind of where the ratings are on the scale, so let's see where we are here today. But anybody can get a rating, you just have to go down to your chess club and play a few rated games. Find out how good you are. Nowadays, everybody plays on the internet, though. There's a lot more chess on the internet than there is at the local club. A lot of websites out there and places to play anybody in the world, anytime. That's where Gary was practicing for this. He wanted to make sure he was staying in shape, and went online, played some of these guys, warmed up. Of course, after this, I said we're going to see some blitz. There's some real excitement. We have a pretty strong competitor for him too to finish things off. So he's lurking around here somewhere, studying up, and he's hoping Gary's getting tired to set him up for that blitz match at the end of the show. Came all the way from Montreal for this. Where's Mark? I'm right here. Oh, okay. It's not working, he's staying there. All the way from Montreal to take on Gary Kasparov. If I go around and I rate the positions, do I give them a letter grade or a 1 to 10 to see about how they're doing? I don't know. 8. Let's see what we're gonna. I want everybody to feel that. Uh-oh. What happened? I guess because he was a little bored with being the world champion. At one time, here's the final blow. Thank you very much. Bored because one of these players is going to face Gary in a one-on-one blitz match. Now you're really looking forward to that possibility, aren't you? He's putting any pressure on you, Mark. I know you're. See how we're doing here, right? Still working on his hedgehog. Just going to that defensive posture here, digging in. They're attacking him during the commercial. So eventually the Pepsi machine attacks him. Chess people won't have any trouble with it, but of course at one point everybody knew Bobby Fischer. Masquerading as an innocent photographer, but we know.
Has Gary seen the video online explaining I just showed?
This is where things get a little tougher for the players because now he's coming around twice as fast. So. Oh my goodness. This is turning into a bloodbath.
It's an honor, sir. Thank you. Actually, I just did the same thing in January. So I saw that
Well, you lost prettily. That's kind of nice. You know, you got to go down. You got to go down in flames in a very attractive.
That's the best loss I ever had.
Give me a little round of applause for Philip here. Last man standing. The drawing here for the blitz is
First time he hasn't touched his chocolate.
and the other players just waited 5 minutes before coming out.
Still
They'd come out until 5 minutes had passed, then they would come out.
I mean,
The photographer sit down.
As long as you consider myself a successful, yes.
But they sought you out. I
So
mean,
then they passed
you
the
were
blue
sought
on top
out.
of that one.
They sought out the sports.
No, but students, it's not a school, it's just a concept.
Oh, really?
I do twice a year sessions in America.
Rocky relationship.
New York.
The Manhattan Chess Club.
Chess press.
No, we do it somewhere in this. It's one of the offices of our sponsors in Manhattan, in Midtown.
Midtown too, but all right, we're going to give Philip the rare honor of being put on the clock against Gary here, so so we can move forward.
You
But
get safe now.
No?
You can see now.
That's it. Go ahead. Put the clock here.
You were right.
We'll start. I'm sure we got the right side facing here. So put you on the clock there, Philip. You'll have 10 minutes now to make all of his moves, which we hate to do it, but he's held out a long time. But afraid the
Gary, I was hoping going.
position's turning against him.
Sale, I'm not. Which books?
Sell it.
And language criticism?
Any of those. You sound like a psycho, I know.
And they just looked at me. They just looked at me, and I said an apology. So not very much. Practical question. Come back. You make few moves.
Applause for Professor Wolf. Congratulations.
Nice clock.
Nowadays, most of the clocks you see are digital. You down to the seconds and tenths of a second even. But I'm an old-fashioned guy. I like the old wooden clocks or a little more sensitive. Nothing more disturbing when your opponent moves quickly, really. The clock changeover cost Philip his concentration there, so we have to take some responsibility for that.
Conspiracy.
Yeah.
There's me. Is there a chance of beating him on time?
Are you watching how fast he moves?
Exactly.
Technically. Queen into the game, and you may notice it, or you may not, but in general, queen always the most powerful piece. Usually does not enter hand-to-hand combat until later when smoke is cleared a little bit. That's one of your classic amateur blunders, is taking the most powerful piece of queen out early and then it gets trapped and picked off by the weaker pieces.
That's it.
Clock falls. I'm already in trouble over there with our team side, but still impressive display there. Look, congratulations. Dedicated combat expert.
Got a time crunch.
We headed toward a draw there until the time crunch got in there. You lost a few pawns. What do you think? Yeah, we'll do together until it fell apart a little bit over there on the queen side. You got to warm up a little. Now you're feeling the flow here.
Undefeated.
One more here.
you.